Hey friends, welcome to math class. I'm so happy to have a few new faces join us. Today we are talking about adding fractions with unlike denominators. So let's take a look at our notes. We're going to fill them out together first. Adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Now, although we are going to be adding fractions today, subtracting fractions are not much different. You use the exact same process to subtract fractions as well. So we are going to use the least common multiple. Last week, we talked about the greatest common factor, and we sang the factor rap, and we found factors to simplify our fractions. Today, we're going to use the M word. I said that last week the M word was a bad word. We weren't going to talk about multiples yet because we weren't ready to find common denominators. Well, today we're ready to use the M word. We're ready to talk about multiples. And remember, multiples are what we use when we sing our We Know Our Multiples chant, okay? So we know our multiples. We're skip counting those numbers. We're going to find the least common multiples. So we're going to find the multiple that they have in common. That's the smallest number. So when we are adding, we look at our fractions, 1/4 plus 1/2. Okay, so what we need to do is first find the multiples. So I list my multiples of 4. So we're going to find our LCM. My multiples of 4 are 4, 6, 8. Oh my goodness, I was listing multiples of 2. We're not doing our multiples of 2. We're listing our multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay? There are infinite number of multiples of 4, but let's just do our first 5. Okay, so let's do 4, 8, 16. Oops. This Wagner needs a Coke, a cola. I'm having a hard time with my brain today. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. The first 5 multiples of 4. So this is 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, and 4 times 5. Okay. Now let's list our multiples of 2. I was just ahead of myself. So my multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's go to 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These are my first 5 multiples. 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, and 2 times 5. Well, we want to find the one they have in common. That's the smallest number. They have several in common, but the one that is the smallest number is the 4. And then we do a little thing I like to call dash times dash equals dash. We have a dash, we multiply, we have a dash, we have an equals, and a dash. Dash times dash equals dash. We do this for both of our fractions. We list our original fraction. That's our first dash. Then we multiply by a second fraction to equal a fraction that has our least common multiple as the denominator, because our least common multiple is going to be our common denominator. This may look very familiar because all you're doing is creating equivalent fractions. Last year, you created equivalent fractions. Now, what we're doing is we're creating equivalent fractions, and then we're just going to add them. So these are all things you already know how to do. We're just combining a couple of skills that you learned last year in 4th grade. So we need to first create our equivalent fractions, and we do that by multiplying in order to get the common denominator we want. Okay, so what can I multiply times 4 to get 4? Well, that's easy. It's 1. And remember, just like with simplifying fractions, whatever I do to the bottom number, I have to do to the top number. So I'm going to multiply both by 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. So I really didn't do anything to 1/4, but it's always good to practice the steps. So let's do our 1/2 times dash equals dash. And remember, we're using that 4 to be our common denominator. Well, what times 2 equals 4? 2 times 2 equals 4. What am I going to put on the top? Well, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to also multiply my top by 2. And 1 times 2 is 2. And since our operation sign was add, I'm going to add our 2 fractions together. And this is step 2, find the LCM to create your new common denominator. Sorry, I'm a little ahead of myself. I'm just so excited to be talking about fractions. And honestly, it is because I didn't understand fractions as a kid. And so I love trying to think of new ways to help you to understand fractions. So that's just why I'm a little excited today. Fill in the middle for your numerators. That's what we did here. Now we need to add or subtract numerators only. Keep your new denominators. So let's go ahead and add our new fractions together. 1/4, which is what we created, plus our new fraction with a new denominator. Well, I know I'm keeping my 4. Just like yesterday, I don't add up my denominators. I'm only going to add my numerators. 1 plus 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then, if we need to, we will simplify. But 3/4 is simplified as much as it can be, so we don't need to simplify today. So these are the steps. Dash times dash equals dash. That's what we're going to do. Find the LCM to create your common denominator. Fill in the middle for your numerators to see what your numerator is going to be. Add or subtract numerators only. Keep your new denominators, or denominator, I guess I should say. And simplify if needed.